Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. How many of you made a New Year's resolution to eat healthier? Raise your hand. Why does eating healthier have to feel like a chore? It's because most of our produce is bland and tasteless. And a lot of it is grown in California or Mexico, thousands of miles away, and it takes weeks to get here. So by the time it reaches your plate, almost all the nutrients has decomposed and it leaves your food without flavor. Now, bland food is an unpleasant experience, but the real problem is that over 40 million Americans are food insecure, meaning they have no access to fresh produce. And that's over 1.5 million people in North Carolina alone. And with agricultural yields decreasing year after year, this is only going to get worse. Now, Druid is looking to solve both problems. We're building AI-based indoor farms across, building AI-based indoor farms in food insecure areas within cities to create sources of fresh, sustainable produce. We can grow a wide variety of crops, including leafy greens, herbs, edible flowers, and even strawberries. And we're combining this with heirloom crops from local farmers to create a one-of-a-kind subscription service. How does this combat food security? Because by creating unique flavors for a sophisticated audience, we're building the foundation from which we can build a network of farms across North Carolina, the South, and the rest of the US, sharing data via Internet of Things, and growing crops more effectively and at an affordable cost for most Americans. Kind of like how Tesla built the Roadster before the Model 3. So we're building a food ecosystem to create a system of sustainable living in the face of climate change. We're looking for $250,000 to build our first farm at scale. So join us on the journey to build the future of sustainable food. Thank you.
You did a good job, but I think you could have done better because the problem is the one that I'm not sure that you're defining clearly enough, at least for me. You talked about the access to food, which is a big problem, especially in many places, but you also talked about the quality of the food. And you don't address the issue of the fact that there are local farmers out there already. You're doing something different. I think you're trying, I don't want to make the pitch for you, but I think you're trying to provide closer proximity to some places. There's a lot of local farmers out there, and people are just not getting to them.
That's right. And we're looking to not necessarily compete with local farmers. We're looking to work with them. You see, since a lot of the farmers around here, they have their own special crops that they grow on their farms. And so instead of competing with them, we would like to invite them in to be part of what we're building. So we can build a subscription box service. So we're providing our own unique flavors and the comfortable flavors that we know and love.
Yeah. So could you tell me what is an AI-powered indoor farm? Like, give me an example.
Sure. So basically, we're using a machine learning algorithm to gather data from dozens of years of growing via USDA, and we use that to define temperatures, humidity, pH, that's right for every crop we grow. So every single system has the exact specifications for whatever crop we want to grow, whether it be lettuce or kale or whatever you want.
And so, like when you say a food insecure neighborhood, obviously there's probably one a couple miles from here. Right?
Yeah, basically
so like we're talking about we'd put an AI farm somewhere like just outside the freeway, yeah?
So down that way, maybe over near the music factory.
Sure.
You guys know where that is?
Yeah.
We can build a indoor farm right there because that is a food insecure.
So Julian, how big would it be? How big would the farm be?
It could depend. It could be the size of a large warehouse. It could be a medium warehouse. All that depends on how much funding we could raise. And we could build a massive farm. It really depends on how much space is available.
Is it like a traditional farm? Like, are you going to build this like, I'm thinking about real estate costs, right? So like, are you going to be able to build it sort of tiered so it goes up and you can like do more stuff going up? Or are you going to, because like when I was a kid, I used to work on my grandfather's farm and he had 160 acres and it was really small. 160 acres anywhere around here is going to cost tons and tons of money.
And that's exactly the point. As you see, we're growing within a warehouse. one of these warehouses can grow acres worth of produce. So it's not necessarily how much. If we had 160 acres, that would be like 3 cities worth of food.
So do you know how much more efficient you would be than like a traditional dirt farmer?
We would be using 95% less water than a traditional farm, and we could grow up to 100 times the amount of produce within 1 acre.
Two questions, yes, not a whole lot of time.
So I felt like those numbers that you just said, right, using way less water and being 100 times more productive, man, I would put that should be in the pitch, because it was pretty compelling, yeah, right? I would integrate that like in the front part.
Yeah, I
Noted.
agree. I think that there's more to the pitch. You can provide a little more punch, but 2 questions. One is, have you researched your competition, people who are doing the same thing? Because I've heard similar pitches, to be honest, in other parts of the country. And then second, give us a sense for how you scale, because it makes sense to do it locally right here and down the street. But if you truly are going to make a difference and impact and attract big dollars from investment perspective, you got to have a plan for scaling, because that's when really the trick comes.
Okay, so to answer your first question, there are farms in California, in New York. They've been invested in by.
No. I don't mean farms out there. What I mean is entrepreneurs like you using technology to either build hydroponics or put vertical farms in the middle of cities to try to do similar things. Get good food closer to the consumers.
Yes. Right, there are other farms, but most of them are, in North Carolina at least, they're greenhouses for the most part. We're the only company that's looking to build within a warehouse within a city rather than a greenhouse. And that would allow us to grow all year round, whereas a warehouse can only grow when the sun is up.
Scalability? You want to finish up?
Every big city in North Carolina, across the South, and the rest of America, within warehouses. All right.